Here's today's lineup. The Mahindra B6 electric SUV goes Sportec. And we show you Mahindra's all-new global pickup. The Aprilia Tuono 457 gets a major update. And you got questions, I got answers. Stick around for all that coming up right now on Acko Drive. Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of Acko Drive on Republic TV. Thank you for joining us today. I am Siddharth Vinayak Patankar. It's Independence Weekend here in India. Warm wishes to all of you as we celebrate the 80th year of India's independence. Our top story is Mahindra, who for some years now has been marking Independence Day with some big bang announcements. So, true to that tradition, we got some pretty hot new metal this time too. And it's a double header. First, the company is taking its pickup truck global. And that's a pretty big deal because it opens up entirely new export markets for Mahindra, finally. And then closer to home, the B6 range gets an additional family member. Amaya Naik was on ground for the big reveals.
That's the Scorpio Lifestyler, Mahindra's answer to the pickup truck segment. First shown as a concept in Cape Town in August 2023, this is now the production-bound pickup, designed not just for India, but for markets across the world. So what is the Lifestyler? Think of it as a vehicle that has the toughness of a pickup truck and the comfort level of your modern day SUV. The Scorpio Lifestyler is built on Mahindra's next-generation body-on-frame architecture. Mahindra says the focus here is on capability, durability, safety and refinement. And this is not pitched as a niche product for the Indian markets. No, it's not about that. It's about making a global product for markets like New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, Middle East and even Latin America. Now let's talk about design, because Mahindra isn't exactly going for the quietly blending into the background approach. The company showcased the Scorpio Lifestyler in three different expressions: Valley, Reef and Trail. The Valley edition is aimed at buyers who want a mix of work and leisure and comes in Artemis grey color. The Reef edition, finished in Aqua Reef, is inspired by freedom, exploration and the outdoors. And then there's the Trail edition in Sahara Beige, which is the most adventure focused of the three. Three versions, 3 editions and 3 personalities. That's what Mahindra is going for. It's not saying that these are 3 different vehicles altogether. The underlying car is still very much the Scorpio Lifestyler. And it's just showing off these 3 personalities. There can obviously be many more, given that this one will have access to a lot of accessories. The company also wants this vehicle to appeal to customers who want a pickup not just for work, but for travel, recreation and everyday driving. And that is an important distinction. For Indian buyers, the biggest headline obviously is that this one is going to launch in April 2027 and the starting price will be lower than 19,79,000 rupees, which at least gives a sense of direction to those who are looking at a pickup truck from Mahindra. But there is plenty that we still don't know, like the specifications of the car, what powers this car, will there be 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive, will there be a single cab version of it? A lot remains under wraps. So, yes, plenty that we still don't know. What we do know is the bigger picture. Mahindra believes there is a growing appetite in India for vehicles that combine capability with technology, safety, comfort and everyday usability. So there is still some time before we see the Scorpio Lifestyler on Indian roads. But that gives us plenty of time to understand whether the Indian customer is actually looking for a lifestyle vehicle like this. And interestingly, Mahindra wants to take that time to understand this market better, or at least educate about this lifestyle vehicle. It's interesting how things will pan out. We really can't wait to drive this one and tell you more about it. Now, if you think that Mahindra was done after showing us that global pickup, the Lifestyler, you're wrong, because it now has this one. It's not a new car, of course, it's the BE6, but the B6 now gets a completely new series, Sporttech, Sport and Technology. Let me take you through all of that right away. The B6 is now offered in 8 variants and 12 colors. This one from there might look like black to you, but up close, it's called Ruby Velvet. And then you can see how well it looks. Let me talk about the price as well, because this one now is available with battery as a service too, with prices starting from 11,45,000 onwards, and it's only available in pack 1 and pack 2. But this one is pack 4. The prices therefore ex-showroom for the entire car start from 19,45,000 rupees going upwards of 26 lakh rupees. That's quite a spectrum, quite a lot of features too on offer. But there are changes to the inside that you will really love. So let's get inside. The first thing that you'll notice is that 3-screen layout. That's available from pack 2 onwards. But yes, very interesting and very intuitive as well. So all of these features are going to be different features available. And you also have tech features on offer. There's a tech suites on offer which has Google Gemini. There are 48 apps on offer, and there is so much more tech on this car now than ever before. So yes, a very intelligent B6 on offer. And the best part about all of this is that you also get option to write messages, which can be then displayed on your tailgate, rather your tail lamps. Yes, that is something great. Now, the good part about all of this is that even the Formula E edition which comes in gets a bit of an acceleration boost, which makes it go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 6.4 seconds. That is quick, blistering fast. But having said all of that, there is good news for the earlier B6 owners, XCV9S owners, XCV9E owners, because most of these updates that this car gets will also be updated on their cars from January 2027, which is great because these options will be available to them as well. Now, deliveries of this car will begin from August 26, 2026. And it all bears down to how you look at it. 19,45,000 rupees is expensive for an electric car. But look at it, it's the B6. It's new age, it's different. And with BAS, that is battery as a service, the price has now come down to 11,45,000 rupees. Does that make it exceptionally affordable? Let us know what you think and reach out to our social media handles and even this email ID. But Mahindra just did not stop at these two vehicles. Its truck and bus division officially launched the Blazo iTRK. Its next generation heavy commercial vehicle. At the heart is Mahindra's 320 brake horsepower M-Power engine, paired with the iMax 2.0 connected vehicle platform. The headline number up to 10% more mileage compared to previous models. A direct hit on running costs for fleet owners. But the real industry first is uptime. Mahindra is backing the truck with a 48-hour uptime guarantee, and if they miss it, they pay 10,000 rupees per day. That promise is powered by the iMax 2.0 platform's live telematics, tracking vehicle performance around the clock. The range spans multiple configurations. 2835 lift axle, 42, 48 and 49 ton in a 10x2 layout.
So does that B6 Sportec get your heart racing? Okay, switching gears now. Aprilia has updated the Tuono 457 to make it more comfortable. Although it's called a special edition, it's not really a new variant, but really just an upgraded bike for 2026. So, have the improvements worked in its favor? Arun Mohan Nadar heads to Baramati to get you the answer.
So what I have next to me is the Aprilia Tuono 457 Special Edition. This is not a special variant of the standard motorcycle, but this is the updated version of the Tuono 457 because Aprilia says they have fixed the two major issues with the motorcycle. First was comfort and the second aspect was the ergonomics as the motorcycle felt cramped for tall riders. So have these upgrades made the new Tuono 457 Special Edition a better bike or not? We get you that answer. So let's start with the cosmetics of the motorcycle. On the design front, the overall design of the motorcycle remains identical to the older bike, but there is one big change, which is the windscreen over here. This sits now between the headlight and the instrument console. On the older motorcycle, this was exposed. I was never a big fan of that bug-eyed headlight. This windscreen makes the front end look better in my opinion. Moving forward, you can see that the graphics on the motorcycle has been redesigned. It is now extending from the tank extension to the fuel tank. Looks a bit cool. Also, the Tuono badging at the rear end has been redesigned, makes it look better. There are two new color options also to distinguish the special edition from the older edition. There's Mamba Black and there's Puma Grey. So these are the changes on the cosmetic end. So the biggest change on the Tuono 457 Special Edition is on the suspension hardware. We had a big problem with the ride quality of the motorcycle because the suspension tuning felt a bit firm for the Indian roads. Aprilia has taken that feedback and revised the suspension tuning on both the front and the rear suspension. At the front, the upside down fork, both the rebound and the compression has changed. Even the spring rates are different, making the ride quality better. And you can feel that difference on the roads. On bad roads, the new Tuono 457 feels much more composed. You don't feel that judder on the handlebar. At the rear, the monoshock, the compression has been changed. The rebound remains the same, and I think the biggest change is on the rear suspension because on the older motorcycle you felt that you will be tossing off the motorcycle. That's not the case with the new bike. It feels much more settled. It feels much more tuned for the Indian road. So yes, the suspension hardware change has made the motorcycle more comfortable. So on the ergonomics end, there are two big changes. First up, the handlebar is now 10 mm higher and the seat density, the foam has been increased by 10 mm. So let's check out the ergonomics. Now Aprilia still claims the seat height is 800 mm, although they say that the foam has increased by 10 mm. I am 5'10" tall, weigh around 100 kg. As you can see, I can easily flat foot. For me, the seat height is not an issue. And even for shorter riders, I don't think so the seat height should be a big issue because the seat itself, the profile is very tapered. So it's not a wide motorcycle in that sense. Second thing, the riding posture, as I mentioned before, the handlebar is now 10 mm higher. The foot peg still remains rear set. So you can see the riding posture is slightly canted forward, but it's not overly sporty like the RS457. So the riding posture is like a typical street fighter, a bit sporty but comfortable, makes riding this motorcycle very fun, very enjoyable. And I think the ergonomics, yes, it is a bit sporty, but it is also comfortable. Second aspect is the weight of the motorcycle. Again, not very heavy. You can easily move the motorcycle around when you want to park the motorcycle. So the change in ergonomics, the biggest change is for taller riders, the leg space used to feel cramped. Now it doesn't feel that much. Even for your shoulder also, the riding posture is more comfortable and better. So what hasn't changed on the motorcycle is the engine. The twin-cylinder engine still remains the highlight of the Tuono 457. Offers you ballistic performance, very strong mid-range, very strong top end. You can do very good speeds on the motorcycle, feels quick, feels nice, feels very engaging. Even that exhaust note with the 270-degree crank has that magic of a parallel twin engine. You also get a lot of refinement. So the Tuono 457 is a great motorcycle for your city commutes, and you can also go touring because this motorcycle does speeds around 120, 130 kilometers per hour very easily. The stability of the motorcycle is great. Apart from that, the handling dynamics of the motorcycle, again, the Tuono 457 will always plaster a big smile on your face when you're taking fast corners. Feels very composed, feels very confident, just feels so good when you're taking the corners fast. The tires do a good job, the chassis balance is superb. So in terms of handling, this remains one of the best mid-capacity motorcycles out there, and in terms of performance also, because this is among the most powerful mid-capacity motorcycles in the market. So the new Tuono 457 is 5,000 rupees more expensive than the older variant, and I will say that it is well worth that extra money. The big change is on the suspension hardware. Now the Tuono 457 feels much more comfortable on Indian roads. The ride quality is good on our roads, and this makes the motorcycle more comfortable. The second aspect is the change in ergonomics, because that again makes the riding position better. It gives the rider a lot of more comfort when you're out touring. Apart from that, the engine still remains the highlight for me on this motorcycle. It's an absolute rock star. Even the handling dynamics of the motorcycle is very good. It is very thrilling around the corners. So if you want a fun mid-capacity motorcycle, the Tuono 457 still remains a great option. Now it is much more comfortable for the suspension and also in terms of the rideability, and that makes the motorcycle more recommendable. Having said that, 4 lakh rupees is expensive, but then again, good things come at a price.
The latest there from Aprilia. Now it's time for your questions. First up from Motilal Chetri. My daily commute is 30 kilometers up and down, so 60 kilometers total. 70% of it is on the highway, so should I go for diesel or petrol? Great question. It's a dilemma many people have. Now, with a 60-kilometer daily commute and 70% of that being on the highway, I'm of course going to lean towards diesel, provided you plan to keep on doing similar mileage. It'll be more efficient, more relaxed at highway speeds, and any DPF issues are unlikely because the car is going to get plenty of long runs. Now, if your annual mileage is under 12,000 or maybe even under 15,000 kilometers, or your usage may be shifting later on to just mostly city driving, then maybe petrol becomes the better choice. Naveen Rana is asking, on the Thar Rocks, which is better for driving in Uttarakhand, both hills and plains, diesel manual or diesel automatic, AT? For overall driving comfort, and what is the mileage difference, which color is more premium and suitable for a government employee? Okay, that's very interesting. Now for Uttarakhand, I am going to choose the diesel automatic. Surprised? Well, because I'm guessing that you'll have to deal with some messy traffic from time to time as well. It also makes hill driving much more relaxed, especially every day, and especially in traffic and on those steep climbs. The torque converter has reasonably quick changes, and it works quite well on the descent as well. Now, unless you simply enjoy driving with shifting gears yourself, the automatic is the better all-round choice. As for mileage, you're not going to find much of a difference. Even the company claims the same 15.2 kilometers per liter for both. And while the color is very subjective, I feel you should get whatever color you like anyway, regardless of what you do for a living. My personal favorites are the Deep Forest and Nebula Blue, but in the hills, the Tango Red and Citrine Yellow, they will really stand out. Okay, this is an interesting one. We already have the Scram 440, don't we? So why do we need a Himalayan 440? Right, the Scram 440 isn't a hardcore off-road bike like the Himalayan 440 is expected to be. It rides on a smaller 19-inch front wheel, ground clearance is lower, and it also limits the overall off-road riding capability. So I'm hoping that Royal Enfield makes this new bike more like the OG Himalayan, a little bit more hardcore, to be honest. Ratish has asked, are there any cons on the Hyundai Venue's turbo engine? Overall, it's a very good engine, Ratish, and it's been well proven now for some time. Main downsides are that you have to be careful what fuel you put in, because it has to be unadulterated for it to perform at its best. Fuel economy will drop if you also drive very enthusiastically, but if serviced on time, driven well, it's generally proven to be really reliable and one of the better small turbo petrols in the segment. Please keep your questions coming. I love to hear from you. Also, what you're thinking, what you're considering. Thanks for that. And thanks for watching today. I will be back next week with more cars, more bikes, and more news. Until then, please drive safe, wear your helmets or your seatbelts, as the case may be. Stay with Republic for news updates.